Alright, so Fresh, Rowell and Oatly dropped 50 kills in their first game of round 1 of Event Test. We're going to break down how they got those 50 kills, what they've done right, what they could do better for next time. Now, obviously, one of the first things to say is that the average skill level of an OCE player is slightly lower than what you'll find on other regions, just simply because there's less players. However, to put up 50 kills, regardless, is really, really impressive. So to start off with, we can see that they've got 2 other teams contesting them. So we have a little bit of a look at what they're doing off spawn as well. So to start off with, we see Fresh landing at the triple chest house along with Rowell. They're double stacking it. And Oatly's looking to take control of main, where he gets a kill, and it looks like he's going to get the shake, which is of course really important to get further information, which he then uses to engage on this guy and look to win the fight. Gets the wall, gets the control in the box, and Pool Noodle's looking a little bit lost, has to be said. But you see he was playing very patient there, waiting until he's not trying to take just a straight 1v1 fight. Rowell comes over, gives him some help. So automatically, or straight away, we're seeing that Oatly's looking to play with his team. And you can see the experience Oatly has at flying around these zero gravity areas. That experience is so important because for other people fighting in here, if you don't have that same experience, it can be really disorientating as they look to finish these guys off. They do get the finish. So already with 6 kills, running out of spawn here, the loot is definitely not the greatest, but from here they can at least make some moves. So all 4x's as they get through their looting path. But the first thing I've seen there, Oatly and Rowell, really good communication to look to play together. Really good experience knowing how they want to play in Holly Hatchery with all the zero gravity work. And a good emphasis on making sure that they're not fighting someone with a parasite without trying to take it off first. So you saw Oatly trying to take that parasite off and go from there. Alright, looks like they're being rolled up on by a team. Now this team is coming up from the bottom of the hill, so they immediately have an advantage. So straight away Fresh looks to hold that advantage. As you can see, he looks to move up over the top of these guys. Now Fresh with attack is one of the most devastating things you'll see. Now looks like they've got a down body over here. Look at the way they're splitting these guys though. So Fresh jumps on these guys, Fresh jumps on this. Oatly, so splitting themselves up here, I'm not a huge fan of this. I think Fresh, while he does win as 1, you shouldn't really be looking to take a 1 like this unless they're super confident. I think using the time that they had to split this team up, if we look at the drone free here, they had this perfectly as a 2v3. Fresh could have come in from the back here, looked to put some pressure on while Oatly put some pressure on from here. So essentially Oatly and Rowell from here, Fresh from here. With that, they would have finished these 2 off and made it a complete 1v3. But Fresh wins as 1 over this side, and Rowell and Oatly look to finish this team off here as well. Rowell trying to get the piece control on the box. So these guys playing super defensively now. And now this is exactly what I wanted to see. So Fresh coming in from this side here. We've got Oatly coming in from a separate side, putting some pressure on. Meanwhile, Rowell's also getting some super pressure on. All of them taking probably unnecessary damage, but Fresh finishing them off. And all of that comes down to that damage they took. Poor angles, poor peaks. So it's just about making sure that they're taking safer angles and safer peaks for that fight next time. I'm not going to say this is necessarily time wasted, but there's definitely 20-30 seconds here that they could be out here looking for kills. It might have cost them, 2-3 more kills. Oatly, so immediately Oatly looking to secure hide on these guys, looking to control the fight himself. Really well played. He just immediately looked to control the fight straight away. And now he's having to win his 1s. That guy gets in his box. Fairly easy for him. So securing height there. Oatly's shown a really good understanding for looking to control fights generally. We saw him earlier, like I said, right off spawn, looking to control the fight by making sure he waited for Rowell. And just there, he's also shown that he's not trying to sit on low ground and take spray damage. He's happy to get up, take height, and control the fight himself. So a good understanding of how they want to play fights as a trio, it seems. It's just about looking for that consistency and making sure they're individually taking the right angles and peaks, which is what has cost them some health so far. This is exactly what I'm saying. Not necessarily looking to get in the most safe ways as Fresh takes a huge beam. They're obviously more about really trying to get in, not necessarily playing it extremely methodically. For them, it's about getting in, getting the kills, and if they need to heal up afterwards, that's fine. So Oatly and Rowell finishing off someone else together. Finally, they're showing a little bit more understanding of controlling the fight. Now, I would like to see a nice little setup in terms of a pinch here. So Oatly and Rowell look to get in together. Where's Fresh? Fresh coming in from more on the left side as Oatly and Rowell together. Again, the idea that I talked about in my spawn fighting video the other day was about 80 INC collapsing on an isolated player using teamwork and communication is really, really important. Oatley and Rowell communicating and using teamwork beautifully. They're collapsing on an isolated opponent. All we need is Fresh out back getting separate angles, and they've done it perfectly. So here we go. Fresh and Rowell again looking to jump on an isolated player. Rowell's one of probably the more underrated fighters in the region because he's so understanding about how Fresh and Oatley like to play. He's happy to play support alongside of them. He understands Fresh is more aim-based, and he's happy to take some 50-50s. He generally wins them. When you're happy to take 50-50s like that, it's really good to have a teammate with you to make sure that you can trade out. So with Fresh taking damage there in his 50-50, Rowell is here, and he can put pressure on while Fresh heals up. Oatley won his one, so he can come in and play as a duo. So particularly for tack players like Fresh, the 50-50s do happen more often, and again, that is why you see him taking a bit more damage, a little bit more aim reliant, which is totally fine because Fresh's aim is insane. It's just about making sure the team plays around that well, which is exactly what I'm getting at with Rowell. So they set up for a box fight really nicely here, and this is exactly what I wanted to see. So Rowell coming in from one side, Fresh coming in from the other, creating those angles, and then Oatley is coming in from the same side as Fresh, but they have enough damage coming in from Rowell on the other side to make this really difficult for this team here. As again, they look to collapse on one player. They have this isolation collapse game really, really well done. They have this isolation collapse kind of game plan down really, really well. You can see it's what they're looking for every time. And once again, the idea of them taking a few more 50-50s, therefore having to heal up a little bit more than other teams that you've probably seen, just coming again to shots head. Looking for some pre-edits here. Really nicely done. Really good time to do that. And again, looking to jump on isolated players, that idea of isolating someone and then collapsing on them, playing a little bit more of a 50-50 style, but that's totally fine. If you've got 3 versus 1, you're not going to lose that. You might have someone take a bit more damage, but that's fine. So Fresh looking for a separate angle. We've got Oatley coming in from the other side as well, and Rowell is backing Oatley up. This seems to be one of the things. Rowell plays with one of them. He's not happy to go off and get his own angle, but here we go. This is why they play 2-to-1, because when you have this 50-50 style, you have to have someone there to trade out if you get pumped like that. So they trade out nicely, but this right here is, again, the idea of the 50-50 play style, just having those negatives where you might win the fight quicker, but then you're forced to waste time by spending more time healing up. So the trade-off is there, but for these guys, their aim and their confidence is good enough that they're happy to get in and win these fights. So they already have 31 kills. Now Oatley looking to control everything on this side. Let's again look at how they're setting up here. We've got Fresh coming from one side. They're putting enough pressure on that these guys feel they need to jump in. And now they've got separate angles. And it, once again, collapsing on isolated players, making it very, very easy to finish the fights quickly. In that stage, it was someone else who was 50-50ing them, therefore the fight is done. So I think if I'm taking anything away from this, if I'm Jinx, Rowell, and Oatley, it's that maybe we stop playing such a 50-50 heavy style and let these guys come to us, control more space around them. So again, really, really good support play from Rowell, boxing up around his team, making sure that they're not taking any unnecessary damage. And the thing that's, again, really, the thing that's blowing me away about this team is how good the teamwork is. Rowell knows his place so well. He knows exactly what he needs to do to make this team function well. As he's simply supporting them, making sure that if there's a trade-off happening, he's there to facilitate that, and he's just simply making sure that they're engaging at the right times in the right manner. As an IGL, I would always say let's not play this 50-50 playstyle in general, but if it's working because you've got 2 people who understand how to play that kind of playstyle and do it well because their aim is good, or because you're in a region that kind of can facilitate that, then it's fine. So once again, we see Rowell supporting. Some nice pre-edits coming in from Fresh. So if I look for Rowell and all this, he's right behind Oatley. Right behind him, he's got his nose directly on him. He knows where he is, so that if Oatley goes down or he runs into a 1v2, he's there to facilitate the trade-off. Rowell is the backbone that holds this team together and holds this kind of play style that they have for WKing together. Because without Rowell, there won't be someone there to trade off. Rowell is happy to throw his ego to the side. He's happy to be dropping 7 kills while Oatley's dropping 22 because he's there to facilitate that 50-50, jump in the box, let's win every gunfight sort of playstyle. Landing on height, spraying back for some free kills on some players who aren't too sure what they're doing. Really easy way to ensure that they're picking up some nice free kills as they lead into the end of this lobby. And it's just on height when you've got this much ammo, it's just about putting the pressure down. Rowell, again, I've said it time and time again, happy to sacrifice the kills if it means that Fresh and Oatly are in there doing their job. He's jumping up, looking for spray and pressure on height, rather than getting in. As it comes down to the last couple of kills here, of course he's happy to get in. But you've seen there how he does his support role as an IGL so well. He's happy to sacrifice the fun of playing a little bit more risky to ensure that this team has the success that they do. And now this is exactly what I'm talking about. So finally, Fresh gets into a situation where Rowell isn't there to help him trade off and he's forced to disengage for it. Most of the time, Rowell is there helping put on a little bit of extra pressure. So the one time where he's not there to put on that extra pressure, it's a little bit more difficult for Fresh to play that 50-50 playstyle without taking the risk on top. As this gets right into the end of it, Oatly finishes on 28 kills, but I think the MVP of this is Rowell, simply because he allows them to play the 50-50 playstyle by facilitating and supporting so beautifully. Thanks for watching.